Hello! Today on our show, we have our special guest, Courtney Bolus, to teach us a little something about how contacts work. Come on in, Courtney.
Hi Ellen, thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
It's no problem. I'm glad to have you too.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so tell me, who created the first soft contact lenses that are still used today?
Well, Ellen, Otto Wichterle discovered HEMA in 1961, which became the world's first soft contact lens.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Except I have no idea what you're talking about. Could you please explain what HEMA is?
Oh, that's alright. Let me explain. HEMA is a hydrogel that can be made into contacts using the spin cast method, which is very simple and effective. There always has to be different contact corrections to the lenses, and that is why this is a great method to use, because the lenses could be made simply by varying the spin and the mold optic, which made manufacturing lenses quick and easy.
Oh, that makes much more sense now. It's all coming together. So tell me, how do soft and hard contact lenses work?
Well, contacts work just like eyeglasses do to correct vision. They alter the direction of light rays to focus light properly onto the retina. A soft contact lens molds to the shape of the eye, covering both the cornea and limbus, since the lens is soft and flexible. The eyelid and attraction between the polymer and tear film hold the lenses in place, unlike a hard contact lens, because they have to be held in place with precise fitting and attraction to the tear film, or else the hard contacts will not work properly.
Oh, I guess you learn something new every day. But what is a polymer, and why are they such an important part of contacts?
Well, a polymer is a large molecule made up of chains of repeating basic molecular units called monomers. Polymers are the most suitable materials available now for contacts to be made from, because so many of their properties are needed for contact lenses. These properties of a polymer are transparent, flexibility, low density, tough, unreactive to chemicals on the eye surface, easy to manufacture, made from raw material that is available in abundance, easy to mold, refractive index suitable for bending light rays, and hydrophilic, water-loving. Lets oxygen gas pass through to the eye surface and produces lenses that are easy to invert, remove, clean, and store.
That's really interesting. I never realized how important polymers were to our daily lives. So tell me, what makes a good contact lens?
The most important property when making contact lenses is the biocompatibility, and its most important factor is the wettability of the lens. The lenses are always in contact with the fluid in your eye, and when the contact is placed in your eye, a layer of tear separates the contact from your eye called the tear film. So the polymer has to be hydrophilic, which is water-loving, since it needs to attract to water, instead of repel like hydrophobic.
Oh, that's interesting. So what happens if the polymer was hydrophobic?
If a polymer was hydrophobic, it would repel the water that makes up the majority of your tear surface, ultimately disrupting the tear flow, and would result in deposition of a albumin film on the lens, which reduces the effectiveness of the contact, causing an infection or irritation.
Alrighty then. Now I know what to look out for. So, can we wear contacts more than once a day?
Well, that's a great question, Ellen.
Thanks.
Water contents play an important factor because the permeability of the lens is proportional to the amount of water in the lens. If the percent weight of water increases, then the permeability increases linearly. The contact's ability to absorb more water also makes them highly hydrophilic, like I said before. Therefore, the soft contact lens has the ability to achieve permeabilities, which allows contacts to be used for extended wear of more than one day without any damage to the eye.
Wow, look at you with all your knowledge. Pretty interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Before you go, why did you choose to be such an expertise in the contact lens industry?
Well, if you didn't know, I wear contacts because I can't see too well. I'm kind of blind. Just going to say that, but I chose to do contacts because I thought it would be very interesting to see how they work and how they relate to chemistry. That's why I chose it.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for providing us with this helpful information. Really would love to have you back sometime, Courtney.
Oh, thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Ellen, it was my pleasure. This was a great experience. I hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Ellen. All right. Cheers. Cheers to that.
To the freaking weekend.
Yeah. Hello again. Today on our show, we have our special guest, Dr. Sophie Cerna.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
It's my pleasure. So you're going to tell us a little something about how antibiotics work.
Yes.
Great, so tell us what antibiotics are.
Well, antibiotics are a drug that are used to kill or slow down the reproduction of bacteria. They are harmless to human cells and are under the microbial category. It's a very successful drug for most people.
How was the drug invented? Has it been around for a while?
Antibiotics were invented in 1888 by a German scientist named E. de Freudenreich, who noted its antibacterial characteristics. It was first discovered in penicillin and was forgotten about for a while, until another scientist rediscovered it by accident.
What do you mean by accident?
Well, the scientist named Alexander Fleming had been examining bacteria, but had not been so careful with cross-examination of a fungal sample. The mold started to kill off the bacteria in his previous sample.
Oh, so you said the antibiotics are not harmful to the human cells. How is that?
Well, human cells and bacteria cells are very different. Antibiotics target protein synthesis in bacteria cells. The DNA in an animal cell is protected by a cell wall and a nucleus.
Can antibiotics kill all bacteria?
Bacteria's resistance to antibiotics has become a huge problem, actually. Bacteria multiply rapidly, and some are stronger than others. They have evolved and resist drugs like antibiotics, like survival of the fittest.
So, how does all this relate to chemistry?
Well, here I drew us the chemical structure of penicillin G. The chemical group attached to the amino NH, right there, can be altered to give different penicillins with different properties. In the above example, the R group is a 6-sided benzene ring. Benzylpenicillin therefore has a 4-sided, a 5-sided, and a 6-sided ring. There it is. Okay. Benzylpenicillin was the first penicillin produced by molds and used in medicine, but unfortunately it's acid labile and degraded by stomach acid. Therefore, it cannot be taken orally and has to be injected. One of the first improvements sought was to produce acid-stable penicillin by altering the R group by semi-synthesis.
Oh, that's interesting. But wait, what is an enzyme?
An enzyme is a substance produced by a living organism that acts as a catalyst or stimulation to bring about a specific biochemical reaction.
Before you go, I just have one more question. Why did you choose the topic of antibiotics?
Well, considering I'm sick today also, I have a very weak immune system, and I always have to take antibiotics, so I was wondering how they work so well, and now we all know.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on my show.
It's been real, Courtney.
It really has.
It really has.
Adios, classmates.
She got big bright eyes and tangled hair, voguing in her underwear, and nothing's better than doing nothing together. Now she got a toothbrush as a microphone, belted